Good evening, school board members, and I want to thank you in advance for watching this board workshop brought to you by Athletics and Activities. Look forward to sharing with you some of the great work we're doing with athletics and activities. I also want to take a minute to thank all those board members that filled out the survey beforehand, able to answer those questions in this presentation. And then if there's any other questions, happy to answer those as well too. So when looking at our team, what makes up athletics and activities, you have your Sun Prairie East athletics and activities team. You have Jim Mertel, who's the assistant director of athletics and activities. His home base is Sun Prairie East. Zoe Zeiter and Katie DeSell are his two administrative assistants over there. You have myself, who's the director of athletics and activities for the school district. My home base is West High School. And then my two assistants are Mindy Rip and Amber Beaver. Making up our middle school team, we have our middle school sports coordinators. Right now, we are currently looking for a Central Heights middle school sports coordinator. But at Patrick Marsh, we have Crystal Brandel, and at Prairie View, we have Eliza Johnson. So looking at the staffing overall, I know we just kind of went over who is where and in each position. But when looking at our staffing data, we have two administrators, myself and Jim, 3 middle school sports coordinator positions, 4 office support staff. Looking at coaches, now this is both paid and volunteer. We have 138 at Sun Prairie West, 142 at East, and roughly 50 middle school coaches. That could ebb and flow a little bit just based on the numbers that we have at middle school for participation numbers. Advisors, paid and volunteer. When I say volunteer, we do have some clubs where the advisor is not paid. Simply they're just running it and might be running it during SP30, as just another opportunity for the kids. So that's why you look at West. There are quite a few more advisors running positions that are not paid doing them. So that's where you see 64 at West, 48 at East, and then 40 different clubs at the middle schools. Our high school athletics, I'm not going to go through all these. You guys can obviously see them there. But we have all of our fall participation, and now pom and dance and cheer do crossover. So you'll see those do crossover fall and winter. So that's why you see fall and winter behind them. And then a couple years ago, we added our adapted sports league, where you have soccer in the fall, hockey in the winter, floor hockey, and then wiffle ball in the spring. Middle school athletics that are offered. You have boys and girls cross country and girls volleyball in the fall. Winter is boys and girls basketball and wrestling, and then track and field in the spring. Adaptive sports, I want to make sure we highlight this. We do have an expansion. So if you remember, for the first 2 years, adaptive sports was just between Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West. This year we have Middleton, Wanakee, Verona, Mount Horeb, which are co-oping, DeForest, and Monona Grove joining our adaptive sports league, which is absolutely awesome because now these athletes get to travel across within Dane County to other schools and play other athletes, not just Sun Prairie West every time, which is going to be really cool for these athletes. Secondary offerings here, I'm not going to go through each one of them, but they're all linked in there. You can see all the different clubs that we do offer between Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West, Central Heights, Patrick Marsh, and Prairie View. I do want to add in as well, too, that each elementary school roughly gets about 8 to 10 clubs each year. Now, remember, our clubs are all based off of number of students that are in your building and a percentage. This now also understand that this number could be higher at some schools due to community schools or other school initiatives within that school. But each elementary school roughly gets 8 to 10 clubs that they run. And those clubs could change from year to year. It's not going to be the same 10 clubs every year. Sometimes they are. So that's kind of how our activities or our clubs are run. Now, I want to take a minute here, and I'll go through these pretty quickly. I won't touch on all of them, but we had quite a year of success between all of our different schools, and I wanted to make sure we highlighted all those different successes, whether it was from a team success on athletics or a team success on the club side. Like you'll see here, we have our esports team on the left, And then an individual for Annalise finishing fourth place is day tennis. So I won't go through all these, but that's kind of just what you're going to see here the next few slides. So we have a couple clubs here along with our pom and dance. And that's what I forgot to mention also as well too. So obviously you see Sunbury United Wrestling here. And then we also did put in our Coach of the Years as well too here. So that's why you'll see Coach Jim Nelson as well. Coach Massalter, Coach of the Year for boys basketball. Both swim teams with an awesome job this past year. In the last spring, very good year over for Sunbury East with Coach Mon, Coach Olson, and Coach Marchese. And then one of the biggest celebrations I want to make sure we highlight as well too. At the end of last year, our cumulative GPA for students involved in athletics was a 3.4. Our cumulative GPA for students involved in activities or clubs was a 3.5. So we're extremely proud of that. That is a number that continues to increase every year. We made that a strong push, a strong initiative within our athletic departments, and it's great to see that number continue to increase each year. And see the focus, obviously, that our student athletes, put on the court, on the field, wherever it might be, but also in the classroom too. So it kind of correlates to, our students, that are involved in athletics or activities, got to become good at time management, and be able to use study halls, use that time that they have possibly during the SP30, to make sure that they are staying on top of their work. And these cumulative GPAs show that they are. So looking at participation data, one of our big pushes, our problem of practice last year, is we wanted to seek to maintain participation rates while working towards equitable participations that mirrors the demographics that's in line with our mission and our vision of the Sunbury School District. So that if you look at it, you had what our participation data was of students engaged in athletics, and then obviously students engaged in activities. And at the bottom there, you can see what our district enrollment data is, so let's take, our Hispanic students. Our district enrollment data is 11.4%. We were at 6%. So the areas that we marked as key focus areas at the beginning of last year in athletics was Hispanic students, our Black students, and our Asian students. And then if you look in activities, it was Hispanic, Black, and 2 or more races. And what we want to do is obviously seek to maintain that equal participation. But our big goal was to at least increase that by 1%, last year, and work towards that, narrowing that gap. So then if you look at our data on the right side, our 23-24 data, what's highlighted in green are areas that we did make that progress, where we met that 1%. So if you look in the athletics side of it, you'll notice the Hispanic students, we did grow by 1%. In the activities within our Black students, we did grow by that 1%. Areas that we grew or sustained, was with our Black students and our Asian students in athletics, and our Hispanic students are 2 or more races and activities. So those are still areas that are going to be focus areas moving into the 24-25 school year, which we'll touch on here in a minute. Budgeting information. I think it's important to understand this piece of it as well too. What all goes into athletics and activities from a budgeting standpoint. So we kind of had this broken down into a couple areas. We have our salaries and benefits for coaches, advisors, and our sports coordinators, which equals out to be 1.4, about 1.4 million. Then our salaries and benefits for administrators and office staff is $544,538. Now down below, what you'll look at is our total department budget is $919,000. So you'll see for West, it's $393,550. For East is 479,550. You're going to wonder, like, whoa, that's a pretty big, substantial difference there. I'll kind of touch on that here in a second. There are reasons why the budget at East might be significantly higher, especially when we talk about some of our large expenses. So we want to make sure we touch on what are some of our large expenses when we look at our budget. Transportation, 266,000 go to transportation. Our equipment budget is made up of about 63,000. Entry fees or dues. So whenever we go, cross country team goes runs here, Pom and dance goes cheers at or goes this competition, or golf, they might be going here, is about 60,000. We budget for about $145,000 in officials. Our trainer for both schools comes out to be 66. And then this is the big one where we talk about where's the difference between East and West, is our ice rental fees. So Sunbury East houses our boys hockey co-op currently. And a substantial part of that big difference is with our ice fees and what we pay the Sun Prairie Ice for ice every year. We oversee our girls hockey co-op, but that's the way that we spread that out between the 5 other schools that are part of that. We don't see as a school district, because right now boys hockey is a Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West, so we see all that gets spread out a little bit more over girls hockey. So the grand total, is 2.8, about 2.9. So if you're looking at that, it's about 2.12% of the total Fund 10 budget goes towards athletics and activities. Some of the updates you're going to see actually starting here potentially before you watch this presentation, or shortly after you watch this presentation, this Sun Prairie East baseball field. And you guys have heard this come to the board. Pete, Director of Facilities and Grounds, has brought this. We are resurfacing the infield of Sun Prairie East baseball. The Sun Prairie East varsity softball field is getting turfed. So you'll see kind of what currently they look like, and then what the renderings will look like once we do have those fields completed. Sun Prairie West, so this one will be a little bit later in the fall, but Sun Prairie West, the varsity baseball field, the infield will be getting turfed. So when all is said and done at the end of this fall, you'll have the 2 baseball fields and the 2 softball fields that will have turf on them. Fast forward then to next summer, we will be turfing the Sun Prairie East multi-purpose field, which is inside the track, very similar to what you would see over at Sun Prairie West. So by the end of next summer, you will have equal amount of turf at both fields. So those are some of our big projects here. So what are some of the observations? We get asked this quite a bit. What are some of the observations we've seen since the Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West split? We definitely see students will have and do have more opportunities in athletics and activities. For a lot of our clubs, there's 2 musicals, 2 3-act plays, 2 decas, same with it on the athletic side, 2 basketball teams, so there's more opportunities. More opportunities exist. I will be very honest, it's been difficult for us to fill all of our vacant coach and advisor positions. So when we talk about things for next year, you'll hear me talk about that a little bit. We have seen a strong sense of community within the school and pride in the school that you attend. We have seen more multi-sport athletes. We've definitely seen fun and healthy competitions between Sun Prairie East, Sun Prairie West. We have definitely seen excellent community turnout and engagement for those East and West sporting events, which has created some of the best atmospheres, I've seen in any sporting event. And then we've just seen more students involved in athletics and activities across all the high schools. So some of the bright spots, and I'll go over these quickly here. Some of the bright spots, we've really taken a strong focus, on working more hand in hand with our booster clubs, and every year put on 3 booster club meetings. We've seen successful postseason athletic surveys completed. I feel like we've done an excellent job with not only our freshman athletic orientation, but Blackboard communications and communications that go out to the community and all of our caregivers as well too. When looking at the equity piece, we talked about the participation data, and some of those areas that we did see increased growth. Obviously, areas still need to improve, but we did see growth in areas. In athletics and activities, leading last year, we had 95 coaches complete the Courageous Conversation professional development during the summer of 2023. We are still compiling because we did put that training on. Cynthia Bell and Michael Morgan put that training on again for our coaches this summer. So we are still compiling all that data with our professional development team to pull our final numbers with that. Definitely with a staff retention, completed our interviews, our state interviews with coaches and office staff. All of our winter coaches. So last year, all of our winter coaches were on cycle for evaluations. All did receive their evaluations and necessary feedback, and sent out quite a few. You can see cheers for peers. Communicate on the communications end. Completed our communications practice profile. Successfully ran an Isthmus Bowl and the WIA State Lacrosse Tournament, and working with the Miracle League of Dane County and the small group we have here in Sun Prairie. Was able to have 12 meetings around our Miracle League and bringing that to Sun Prairie, and put on a presentation for the school board in June. And those will be the same ones that fall under the operations side as well too. Areas of focus for the 24-25 school year: increase our participation rates that mirror demographic enrollment data for the 6 through 12 cohort groups in the Sun Prairie School District. So like we talked, there are areas that we still do need to see improvement and grow in. Work towards all, and I mean all 6 through 12 of our coaches being completed in the Courageous Conversations training. Continue to work with our human resources on staff recruitment and retention to ensure all paid coach and advisor positions are filled, and continue to work on our Miracle League of Dane County project. Next year, we'll be focused on completing and including our collaborations with the Miracle League Field of Dane County, finalize site and fundraising plan, and work with the Sun Prairie School District Board of Education and City Council. And that wraps up my presentation. We greatly look forward to an excellent and great 24-25 school year. And at this time, I will conclude this presentation and look forward to answering any questions that may come. Thank you.